Welcome to the channel. An interesting one today. We got a request by a customer for a very specific item. Here's a picture. And what he's after a nickel 45 ACP case with a jacketed hollow point bullet on top that's somehow been blackened. He obviously knows he's not going to get that product. We're not going to be able to import that here and inert it. It'd just be a huge faff, and he's in a hurry anyway, I understand. And he only wants 3 of them. So I thought we'd go on a journey of discovery and see what we can knock up for him. So we have our nickel cases. That is reasonably easy. Well, those 2 are spare. We'll go with them. And there's one more spare. See, all the same, but that will be fine. Now the head. Now, as far as bullets go, we have the Sierra 185 grain jacketed hollow points. They are obviously not blackened. They're just a box standard shiny sort of thing. We have to find a way of blackening them. And the first thing that comes to mind, I guess, is the Sharpie. Now, we can have a go at that. We can see whether we can blacken all this up a little bit. Now, this is not actually as far-fetched as you think. I think there was a craze of this at some stage because I think it was during the second Gulf War. I think it was quite popular, where people would take their cases and they'd get the Sharpie out. You know, they'd blacken them up so they wouldn't reflect light, and you know, be totally tactical. And I think the reason for that, and we're reusing props here, is that if you have a look like the steel case, for example, clearly have some sort of green finish that they put on the steel cases to protect them. If we want to have the best of both worlds, and we don't want the shininess of the brass, but we do want to keep its malleable properties and its other advantages, well then the idea then that we coat that in some way is quite near. And I think Sharpie isn't necessarily the way to go. Now, obviously, there have been more serious attempts made of coating bullets and casings than Sharpie. The Cleveland Black Oxide Coatings Company worked on optimized chemical bath to black oxide copper full metal jackets and sold these to Olin Winchester and Crossfire Ammunition in Arcon, Ohio. Now, these were used to make black talon ammunition for Olin Winchester in the 90s, and black talon was a sort of black jacketed hollow point encased by a nickel plated cartridge, which is pretty much what we're trying to recreate. I think at the time there was confusion and people thought that black talon was in fact Teflon coated. It wasn't. It was something called black oxide. Claims have been made about black oxide coatings. Obviously it looks very different, you know. It supposedly does not increase the diameter of the bullet. It supposedly does not harm the gun barrel when fired. It supposedly reduces barrel fouling. I think with a 45 ACP that's not really a priority, but okay. And it does not tarnish, and that might be much more useful. You have a nickel case, and remember that we use nickel cases instead of brass cases because nickel does not react with leather. And so if you then combine that with a head that does not react with leather, well, then you have the best of both worlds. So that's what we're going for. And I mean, obviously, I think we've ruled the Sharpie out because, you know, as the kids would say, that would be janky. And instead, I think we're going to try this product here, which is called Brass Black Metal Finish. And we're going to see whether we can create some blackish sort of heads. Now, what do they say here? Fast-acting liquid used by gunsmiths and industry professionals to blacken or antique brass, copper and bronze parts. Well, that sounds like us. Now, obviously, I don't have the chemical bath that they use at Cleveland Black Oxide, but I don't need to because I have a brush. I will try it with a brush. If a brush isn't good enough, then I'll improvise something else. If we look at this bullet, we can see how wonderfully shiny it is. That immediately sets off some alarm clocks. I have a feeling this has been lightly oiled or coated in something else. And I would wager that if we were to try and brass blacken this thing, that I don't think it would change color very much. So what we'll do instead, we'll grab the old acetone here and we'll give our bullets a wipe down, and we'll see how we look. Now, obviously, I'm not too worried about the bottom, because the bottom is going to be inside the case. It's predominantly the top here that I'm after for blackening. Right, well I think that's pretty good. I can tell because my gloves are melting. So we'll give that a go. Let's see what we got. One, two, 3 clicks away. This looks like I'm painting these. I'm really not. This is a chemical reaction. And so this coating here, I do believe that it won't add any thickness. I can't help thinking that kind of like marinating them, kind of like dipping them, might actually produce a better result. So you could probably put it in a baking tray and you put like a thin coating of this stuff at the bottom and then you roll all the rounds in it. I think that might actually be the best solution. While I'm here, I'm going to see whether I'm going to give everything a second coating. See whether we can improve the darkness a bit more. There we are. So I'll let these marinate and I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Welcome back. I have given them a second coating. It's exactly the same as before. I just want to make sure there isn't, when I'm done with this, one shiny spot somewhere that's going to ruin the whole look. I think we are pretty much there. I think we're pretty much done. I think I will give this a wash down. I think I feel better have given it a wash down. So I think I'll now take my little experiment here. I'm going to run a tap over this. Now they're back after a little wash. I didn't use any detergent. I don't think it would have mattered if I did. Let's see what we got. Good. 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 Right, and we're done. Right, let's have a look. Perhaps a little patchy, eh? I wonder whether I'm going to oil these guys. I think I might try some oil. How about some express gun oil? That's bound to be good. Oh, actually, before we do that, let us find the one that we marked. And that was this one. You can still see the mark. And we can see whether we can detect any change in dimensions. And that's a negative. Okay, so I don't think they have increased in size. Alright, let's give them a dab. And all we need. And I don't really want to get any on the lead part. This is purely for the outside. It does give them a much nicer shine. That's 2. And that is number 3. Good. Right, I think we'll just let that sit there. Now while we're waiting for that, let's have a quick go at these cases. These are not for shooting. I would not use brasso on cases that are used for shooting, it's obvious. But these guys aren't ever going to get shot. They're just for looking at. So I think we'll be safe with a bit of brasso. Let's give these a bit of a rub. Right, obviously I'm not going for super shiny here. This is just to get some of the schmutz off. I don't think brasso will do very much for nickel anyway. So then these are our finished bullets. I mean, look at that one. What more do you want? I mean, that looks absolutely spot on. And I'm very happy with that. I think that'll look very good. Anyway, let's make them up. Okay, so we'll start full-sizing these spear cases and we'll see how we look. And I think that is going to do just nicely. That's a nicely built case. Right, and now final step, we're going to do seating and crimp. So let's seat that down a little bit. What do we reckon? Is that about it? Perhaps a tiny bit more. Nice and gentle. I don't want to mark these up. And now we're going to do the crimp. If we go with too heavy a crimp, we're going to run in danger that we mark up the nickel brass. And that is it then. Let's take one final close-up. I think we're done then. That's a good solid black. I think they look very nice. I hope our customer will be happy. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.